Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here today. And if you're here for the first time, if you're wondering what this is all about, well, we're here talking about healing your hunger and my hunger and everybody's hunger, because being hungry for something more than food is really what drives us to the kitchen time and time again, and the food never satisfies. There's no amount of food to fill that empty hole. So we're here today to talk about what's it all about. What's that empty hole all about? Why is it that we're hungry? Why is it that we keep going back to the kitchen time and time again, looking for what's not there? And today is no exception, because I'm going to be talking about gum and mints and snacky things and other oral fixations. So this, of course, is a topic that comes straight from my personal experience, as most of my topics do, because, I've lived this roller coaster ride of being an emotional eater and having lost 50 pounds once upon a time, and have been thankfully in a thin body, but it's not always been a smooth ride since then. That was many, many years ago. But I've had my trials and tribulations and my trials and errors, and it's been a roller coaster at times. So thankfully, by the grace of God, I'm free today, but I never say I'm cured, because I know that if I stop doing the things that I teach other people to do in my process, the 7 simple steps to end emotional eating now, and you can learn about that on my website, because I have a program called 10 Weeks to Freedom from Emotional Eating, and we cover those 7 steps and more. So, in my process, I teach people how to break free, but I'll tell you right now, freedom is a daily thing. So I'm not cured. What I have is, a daily sense of freedom based on doing the things that I teach. And if I don't do them, I don't stay free. And guess what? If you don't do them, chances are you're not going to stay free. So I hope you'll join me in learning what those are and how to apply them in your life so you can experience freedom. But yes, the caveat is that you have to keep doing them. There's no cure, there's no quick fix. It's a matter of implementing these strategies that absolutely 100% work, but are dependent on getting up each day and doing them again. So, the reason why I want to talk about the gum and the mints and the snacky things and other oral fixations is because there are times in my life when I have thought it's okay to chew gum or eat mints and get involved with flavored drinks, which I call entertainment water. And those are the things that are sugar-free, but maybe they have erythritol in them or other, sweeteners that make them yummy. I've been guilty of indulging in those and just really going to town with them, because for me, as an emotional eater, there's no such thing as one, even if it's good for you or not bad for you. So I can't say gum or mints or flavored drinks are necessarily good for you, but they're benign, right, in the hierarchy of things we could be eating or ingesting into our system. So they're very benign, and I'm here to say that if that's your worst vice, you're doing pretty good. I know you can get addicted to Diet Coke, and it can take you on a ride, because I know people who have been on that ride. My sister is one of them. She is completely powerless over Diet Coke, and it's her number one nemesis. Now she'd probably classify herself as an emotional eater or a food addict, and yet Diet Coke is her downfall. So, which is something I'm going to talk about. Yours may be gum, yours might be mints, yours might be sugar-free candies. There's a lot of things out there that, as I said, aren't necessarily good for you, but they're not necessarily bad for you in the hierarchy of things we could be eating. But they have their detriments. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, that no matter what it is, if you're using it to escape your feelings, chances are it's going to run you into trouble. So let's talk about these things. People often will think of gum or candied mints or candy or mints or whatever, sugar-free things as okay, and that's what they'll use when they crave to eat. And I've done this, and it seems like a good substitute, right? It seems like a good thing to do. Suck on a mint when you're feeling that craving, when you've got that gnawing sense that you want to eat something. But the problem with these things is that one leads to another. So you may not be able to stop. And this is true for me, as one mint usually leads to another mint. One sugar-free candy usually leads to another. And if you're eating sugar-free anything that has any kind of sorbitol or erythritol or all the other tols out there, they are the sugar alcohols, they actually cause a lot of gastric distress. And so you'll probably end up farting from them. So a lot of health bars are this way too. They're delicious and they're sugar-free and they seem completely legal, but they will wreak havoc on your digestive system and you'll stink up a room. So again, there's a downside to these benign, safe foods, if you will, the foods that we feel like we can get away with eating because they don't have sugar in it, they don't have some of the other ingredients that we're trying to avoid. The problem with all of these things is when we're snacking or we're nibbling or we're sucking, or drinking, we're trying to typically escape our feelings, just like we were when we were actually outright overeating. And this is a problem because the minute we start saying no to feeling, that's where we start going into that treacherous territory, because one thing will lead to another. If I escape my feelings aren't going anywhere, right? They're there and they are begging to be addressed. Otherwise, they're being buried and they need to be covered up. So either face them or you bury them. And when I bury them, even with things that aren't, terrible, like mints or gum or flavored drinks, I'm avoiding feeling. And that feeling will chase me. It will chase me until I face it. Okay, I either deal with the feeling or the feeling deals with me. And this has been my experience regarding just on the surface level of eating these things. Personally, because I have an addictive personality, very typically, I will overeat those things. So if I have one mint, I want more mints, and I'll end up eating several. If I have one bar that's legal, I'll want another bar, and for me, it's hard to eat things that I want more of. That's when it's not healthy for me. A lot of a health bar or a lot of a candy or a lot of a mint or a lot of gum hurts me. I've chewed a pack of Trident gum before. I mean, I just blow straight through them, one piece after another until my jaw hurt. And this is kind of embarrassing to admit here, but I think I'm talking to the right crowd, right? I mean, I think I'm talking to the type of people who get this, that you eat one and then you're eating a whole lot. When it's sweet and yummy, I just want more. And that's, I have accepted that long ago. I'm an emotional eater and I like to eat things. I'm very orally fixated. When I was a kid, those pencils, the number 2 pencils that were yellow and had the orange eraser on the end, I would put the whole thing in my mouth like a dog with a bone. I'd put the whole thing in my mouth and I'd bite down on the pencil and I'd get this satisfying crunch feeling from biting that pencil. And so I would turn the pencil and I would bite again, and I'd bite again and again and again, kind of like corn on the cob, I guess, until there were bite marks in the entire pencil. There was not another place that I could bite down on and have that satisfying crunch sensation. And so I would tear through these pencils. It was really weird. It was just weird. I was a weird kid. But the bottom line is I was orally fixated and I wanted to eat and I wanted to chew and I just had this fixation. Where I got that, I can't exactly say. I'm sure there's some science behind the connection between people who are obese and people who are orally fixated, but I don't really care. I mean, the bottom line for me is I like to eat and chew, and it was all about putting something in my mouth. But the reason I was doing all of those things is I was in pain. I was a hurting unit, and I needed to crunch and chew and suck and do all those things because that brought me some kind of satisfaction. For other people, who are in pain, they might cut, they might drink, they might pop pills, they might steal things, they might be, setting things on fire, in their childhood. I like to eat and I like to chew and I like to do these oral things because it gave me some kind of satisfaction and it helped me escape the pain I was in. And so, it got away from me where if I did it a little bit, I always overdid it. That's why I would chew so much gum. That's why I'd suck on so many mints and couldn't stop. I mean, a whole pack of Lifesavers, everything. I don't want to live that way. And for me, and I think if you've been listening for a while, my message is it's not about the food. Okay. So it's not about the food. It's not about the pencil. It's not about the mints or the gum or the flavored drinks that are so yummy. It's about avoiding the pain that I'm in and avoiding it to my detriment because I can't really avoid it. And this is the thing, we either go through the pain or we run from it, and we run forever. The pain, the fear, and the guilt. You've heard me talk before about the PEP test, okay? Why do we overeat? Why do we eat anything? Why are we orally fixated? Because it's a painkiller, it's a form of escape, and it's a form of punishment. It kills pain, we escape fear, and we punish ourselves on account of guilt. Okay, these are the emotions, these are the fundamental emotions that drive every emotional eater and certainly drove me. And guess what? If I'm willing to face the pain, if I'm willing to face the fear and the guilt and all the other emotions, those aren't the only three, but that's a good start. If I'm willing to face those things, then I can have freedom from the munchies. Okay, I don't have to be munching on anything when I'm willing to be still and quiet and feel, deal, and heal, as my husband likes to say. And this is my invitation to you. Some people might say a great substitute for eating is to chew gum or to suck on mints. And if that's what you need to do in order to stop overeating, if that gets you through that rough patch, that's okay. You get a pass from me, but beware, because if that continues to be your fallback when you're having cravings, you're missing the point. And the point is cravings can be our teachers. When I'm having a craving, when I'm hungry, inappropriately hungry because I've already had a meal and I still want to eat, something's stirring inside of me that begs addressing. And so that's your invitation. That's your opportunity to learn something about yourself and to explore those feelings and where they lead you. And that's where the freedom is. So being an emotional eater is not a bad thing. I mean, it's really an opportunity to go deeper and to learn more and to come up higher. Because when we learn and we grow and we deal with our stuff, then we're not burdened. Then we're not running. We're not trying to escape all the time. We're not going from one fix to the next. I mean, when we're in our addiction, whatever form it takes, there is no end. There is no end, and there is no freedom and no respite. It's exhausting. I mean, when I would be chasing the next flavored drink, I knew every store that my favorite flavor was. I knew which store had the right drink that had the right flavor that would give me the right fix. And that is slavery. And I don't want to live that way. And so my only hope is the grace of God. Okay, my only hope of stopping any of these addictions and fixations is God's loving grace. But if you're thinking, well, that doesn't help me much, like God doesn't just reach down and grab the mints out of my hand, I get that. But I'm still going to say it, that my only hope is God's loving grace. But what I need to do is I need to be willing to stop and face myself and what's going on inside. And that is not easy. And I get that. And you're a whole lot better off doing it with support. And if you are part of my tribe and the people who go through my programs, you will get tremendous support. I mean, 24/7 support for doing things that are hard and uncomfortable, which stopping overeating and feeling your feelings is. But I'll tell you, that's where the freedom is. And it's not hard forever. It's just hard when you're first doing it because it's so uncomfortable and it's so unfamiliar. But as you start to do it and you get used to doing it and people cheer you on as you're doing it and you have a system for dealing with those feelings and a very specific way of getting those out, purging them and being healed from them, hey, it gets easier. Day by day, it gets easier. So it's not such a hard thing. But I just wanted to share because I really feel like, this gum and mints and flavored drinks are a gateway drug. I mean, they're a gateway drug to the real thing. So if we run long enough in these sugar-free options, we'll go back to the real thing. Because those sugar-free options, first of all, you can't do them for very long without killing your GI system. But you also, you're also not dealing, and ultimately that's going to drive you back to the food because gum and mints and flavored drinks, they don't cut it, right? When we have that pain that's burning and pressing on us, when we have things in our lives that need to be addressed and we're not addressing them, food is next in line, the real stuff, the stuff that makes us fat, the stuff that makes us miserable, the stuff that creates all kinds of health problems and obesity and diabetes and hypertension and heart disease. All the foods that cause those problems are waiting for us when we refuse to deal and we just try to substitute. The substitutions won't last long. They'll lead you back to the real thing before long. So I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, okay? And I hope that you'll let me know. I hope that you'll jump on the Heal Your Hunger page or, certainly leave a comment on iTunes, a review. But it doesn't have to be a review. You can just share about a show that especially was meaningful to you and why, in the iTunes reviews, but certainly jump on Facebook and let me know, Heal Your Hunger page, let me know sort of what spoke to you. And if you relate, who am I talking to here? Am I talking to the right people? Hopefully I am. This has been my experience and I share it with you because as embarrassing as it is, I know I'm not alone. And I know that, everybody thinks they're the only ones who have, eaten 2 packs of gum in a day. Let me know you know what I'm talking about. And let me know if you want a solution because it doesn't have to stay that way. You don't have to stay orally fixated. There are steps you can take that will relieve you of that craving, relieve you of that gotta munch, sensation, and you can break free. So let's do that together. Please share this show. Please let other people know there's a way out and please join me. Thanks so much. Take good care and see you in the next show.
If you enjoyed this show and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.